Alright lads and lasses, it's time for our first Friday fun day. I don't know, we're going to have to come up with a name for these Friday videos I think. Let us know your ideas, whack it down in the comments below, give us a clue, but let's get right on with it. Something for the weekend, that's what I think we should call it. Something for the weekend, something to think about, innit? The thought I'd like you to do today is around your colours and actually how you present your reports, what you want people to do. Now, Power BI, big term everyone wants to talk about is democratization of data. And basically that's where we're different look to anybody else to come up with ideas for, but we're starting to make our own on sites out. Have a look, bring your own intelligence to the table. Big part of that is a standard. And what you have to do when you're going to create Power BI content or produce stuff that you're going to serve up to others, is you have to think about what's being presented and how you can make it consistent. Now, when it comes to picking your theme, it's really important. I'd recommend having one theme per data set that you're going to use. So this is what COVID data set, so we should have one theme for it. That theme, we need to make sure as well we do something else with it. There's a couple of things you can do with Power BI, and I'll take you through doing them today. And I think that's going to be a really great finisher for our lessons or for our set of work that we've done on this COVID, and we'll put it to bed for now. And we'll move on afterwards, yeah? So lesson one, always start, and I always recommend it, you probably find it easier, you want to start with a base theme, right? For the sake of this, let's just pick Twilight. Different know what's in it, but we'll just pick it, it's a good place to start. Good a place as any. So now we know where we're going to start. Question two. The next thing I need to answer to me sen when I'm starting to think about me colours. What's the point of this report? You'd be surprised how many times I've sat in meetings with people and said, oh, what's the point of this? What are you trying to show? What's the important part? What's the message this report's supposed to deliver for people? I don't know. Wait, if you didn't know what the report's supposed to be, how's your audience supposed to know what they're looking at? Honestly, don't be an idiot, have a think, get your head straight, work out what's going on, eh? What do I mean by that then? Well, if my report on COVID-19 was about death rates and I was wanting to show my boss just, oh, it's death's really terrible, everyone's dying, it's really bad, I'd probably want to go for quite a dark theme, wouldn't I? Really emphasise the deaths, make them really dark and stand out, highlight those numbers. If I was wanting to make a more positive report, I'd probably pick more blues, a lighter colour scheme, and actually try and emphasise blues and greens and show that there's positivity and highlight the good and almost downplay the negative. It's really important when you're doing this that you think about your audience and what the message that you're trying to present is. KPIs. The amount of people I hear saying, oh, I'm going to have a KPI for this, a KPI for that. What's the KPI mean? It's a key performance indicator. That means you know what good is, you know what bad is, and you know what REIT is. If that's not defined, how can you have activities running off it? And if you can't have activities running off it, why are you reporting on it? It's not a KPI. At best, it's a metric that you're reporting on. Really, you need to think through what you're doing, how you're delivering things, what you're serving up, and the message that you're serving up with your report as well. Because a badly coloured report will drive the wrong activities. And if you drive the wrong activities in your business, you waste time, effort, and more importantly for a lot of businesses, you waste money. Now, I've told you I didn't like KPIs, but I'm about to show you that I actually always include stuff to cover KPIs in what I do. When I'm starting to work with my themes, I always start with a Word document. That Word document, I always start with colour scheme number one or element number one, KPIs. What colours we're going to use for our KPIs. And I always use a standard set of colours for those KPIs or for all our KPIs in a report pack. Because that's what you do with a KPI. The point is, it is red, it is self-indicating because we should all know what that KPI being red means. But I didn't want to have some of my KPIs being red, some of them being a slightly different pink, some of them being orange, some of them being amber, some of them being whatever else you want to pick. You get a standard set of colours and you stick to it. So we always define our KPIs first and have a table showing us what our KPIs are. Now, besides our KPIs, we've started to use other stuff. So in this case, I've got confirmed, I've got deaths, and I've got recovered. And I've got 3 colours that are there for them. And I've not just randomly picked those colours. What I do is I use another website for that. So in this case, I have actually used one of the W3 Schools ones. And in W3 Schools, you can see they've got colour schemes. And you've got your monochromatic, your analogous, complementary, triadic, and compound. In this case, I've used triadic. There might be points where you want to use complementary, might be ones you want to use analogous. You can experiment with those to your heart's content though. The key thing is this will help you find colours that should go well together. Right? And it's important to make sure not just that they go well together, but also that they're going to actually work in terms of what you want your report to drive or the context that you want for your report. So that's how I picked my data set colours, my core data set colours. If I had someone else to add, I'd simply just add a table for, let's just say this and that for now, because I've got nothing else to add. Let's just say this and that. Right, then I'll just copy my table. If I really want, I could always just put in a new table. I'll just copy them down as I can. Type of data, well, let's say for this, let's say the second one's going to be that, isn't it? Yeah, this, that, and then let's delete that row of data as well. Yeah, so delete those cells. Hey, I'm teaching you how to use Word and everything. It's a full value course. This, hey, we've used Excel, Power BI, and now we're using Word. So now I've got my colours or my labels that I want to think for it. I need to figure some colours for it. So I'll go through, back to a website, pick some colours, just pick somewhere to click on it, give us some colours, tell you what, we'll pick the nice light one. I just copy the hex colour because you're going to need that to put that into Power BI, but I'll show you how we do it all in a minute. And then should we just pick the yellow just for the sake of it. Alright, so copy, paste that there, and then just to make that read, tell you what I'll do, I'll just do some format painting on that, and that'll cover that. So we'll start to lay it out. I've got my colours there, but I haven't got my colours here. Dead easy to add that. Simply double click on them, copy it, scan through, change the shading, I want custom colours. Down at the bottom, you can whack a hex code in there. Just do that. Jobs are good, innit? Oh, it's like champion this. Right. Now you're going to say, what's the point of doing that? The main thing is, I can see at a glance what colours they are and if they're starting to contradict each other. So now I've got some basic starting layout. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete this because I didn't want that in my colour set. We've got those there. So now I can go back to my Power BI report and you can start to see where we'd look to put that in. So we've got some ideas for a KPI. We've got our colours that we've started to build up. What do we need to do now? Well, we need to start to manage or modify our current theme. Now right now, that's a preview feature, but I definitely recommend you get it turned on. The preview features are under Files, Options and Settings, Options, and then, strange enough, Preview Features when it loads. So go to your preview features and you can see the ones I've got ticked to turn on. The one you need is this Customize Current Theme. What that does for you is when you get into the View menu and look at your themes, you see you now have an option to customize your current theme, and you can also export your current theme. Now we're going to use both of those, and these are things that I would really recommend you get in the habit of doing. So we'll click the customize and we'll have a look and you'll see the theme that will come up. This is what our report is going to be based on. So it's Sunflower Twilight. Let's change the name of that. Let's call it COVID-19. And then we can start to go through the colours. So colour 1 to 8, that's the main colours that you're going to get when you look at a colour scheme. And you've got your positive and negative colours there, as well as a divergent colour set. Now what I'll do for the sake of this, I'm going to have divergent and sentiment as the same, but for you, you might want to do something different depending on your report needs. Alright? Right, so I've put with 3 main colours in there, and I've put with KPI colours in, so I've done that and hit apply. So now we can see that's saved with theme file. Click here again to see it. This report, COVID-19, and I can choose to export the current theme. Definitely recommend doing this when it comes to go live. Export it, give you a nice JSON file. We'll call this COVID-19. Hit save. That's it. I've now got a copy of that file saved somewhere. That's the theme. Next time I come to do another COVID dashboard, I can always open it up, start again from that. Job's a good one. So how do I start to lay these things out? What should be in my report? What should I be showing? Now, some of this is just common sense. Some of it we need to be sensible about. Now, we've said that our core KPI, what we want people to see, is going to be percentage change, haven't we? That's going to be our KPI. That shows us if the lockdown measures that a country is doing are being effective. Now, realistically, the goal of this is to get as close to 0 as possible. So you want your percentage change to be 0. Now, given that the percentage change is going to be running against a count, it can never be below 0, or should never be below 0. Percentage change or confirmed change should always be positive. So 0 is our goal. How about we say 0 to 1% is green, 1% to 3% is amber, and above 3% is red. We can start with that. It's a good place to go. Yeah. Quick and easy way to do this is if we put in some goals, put in some goal KPIs or goal measures. So right click, new measure. So what we've got to work with our KPI, so we've got a percentage change measure now. Click on that, you can see all we're doing is looking at the confirmed change over the latest confirmed. So that's the confirmed today, so the final value that we've got, and the confirmed change, which is already calculated using the latest confirmed. It's a great little package, it'll do a great job for us. Then I've also written just a couple of reference points here. So KPI green and KPI amber. Now I've got that, I can just drop in the base KPI measure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag percentage change onto the page. Just needs to go somewhere for now, and I'm going to say I want this to be a KPI. The target goals for the KPI, I'm going to put my green in and my amber, and then my trend is going to be the dates. Alright, so we've got this together, and because we've got a KPI amber and green in there, it makes the date score screwy. So what you've got to do is actually apply a date filter to it. So what we want to now is we want a relative filter where it's going to be in the last, and let's uninclude today, last 14 days for our KPI. And straight away we do that and we see it goes to 4.5%. Now it's picked it up the wrong way around, hasn't it? So what we need to do is change our KPI. So we click on the paintbrush roller thing, never know the right colour for that leg. And we're going to change that, low is good. And we see it switches it. We can see it's been coming down, but it's just upticked again, but you've got a good figure there as to what's going on. If we click on the indicator, we can see we've got some settings we can make on that. We've got the trend axis that we want to show, but let's take the goals off it. I'll tell you what I'll also do. I'm going to take the title away. Just want to see that KPI, pure and simple. So we've gone through and I've put in a KPI here for you. Now, one of the things I want you to understand why I don't like KPIs is what does that drive? Now, in this case, we know it shows us that lockdown measures are being effective or not effective. But straight away, we've also come up to an area of concern. I've picked the values for red, green and amber. I don't even know if there's a scientific basis behind it. I've just picked what I think is going to feel about right here. Now, I could be right, I could be wrong. And that's a big issue with KPIs, especially if people are just putting them in. So I've shown you why I've done it, or I've explained why I've done it. We've picked a value that I think is about right, but I couldn't justify it scientifically to you. I'm not a scientist in that area. We'll easily change it though, if we know what values we want. So be prepared to tweak KPIs, and KPIs should always evolve as your business requirements evolve and as your needs evolve. So we're back now at our world map. The next thing to do is probably going to be to have a look at what we've got with our world map. Now, world maps are always something that everyone loves seeing. A good world map. It can have a really good impact on them. If you're going to use them, and you're going to use them with coordinates like I've done here, you're going to have to set up a mini map or a mini tooltip like this one. So when you hover over it, you actually can see what's happening. So you've got your map. One of the things you want to do is colour your map based on something. Helps make it more important for people to see it. What we've done initially is we've just got it based on the size of the number of confirmed cases today. What you can do though is change that. So we could just arbitrarily change it, pick a colour like a nice purple or something else. But more importantly, you can use something else. So you can actually use another measure to drive that colour. So here where you've got your colour, you can see you've got 3 dots here. These 3 dots are really important. They're starting to appear a lot more around the application, and they're an invitation to use conditional formatting. So we'll pick to use conditional formatting. What we'll do is we'll pick to use some rules. We'll pick to use our COVID-19 percentage change value. So if the value is equal or less than, new rule. So we've got 3 rules in there. So for number, everything's numbers for this, isn't it? So less than the minimum and less than what we said, 0.2, didn't we? So 0.2, less than 2%, it's going to be green. So we'll pick our custom colour, and I can remember me green. C 66 CC 66. Right, if it's greater than or equal to 0.02 and less than, what was it 3.5? 0.035, then that's going to be yellow, and I can't remember yellow, which is why it's always good to have this up and running it. Click on that, double click on it, custom colour, paste it there. Job's a good one. And then lastly, if it's over the 0.35 and less than the maximum, so delete that, let's put that to be R red. So in this case, we'll bang that out. So we've got our colours in now, and all we need to do is click OK, and you'll see it'll update my map based on the percentage changes of them. So suddenly we can actually start to see really quickly actually what's going on, where's good, where's bad, and that can be really important, a really powerful visualization to help us understand what's going on, where our problem areas are. So KPIs, they can be useful, but you need to be careful with them. So we've used our KPIs to colour our map. Now again, as I say, if you get this wrong, and this is where you've got to be really careful with KPIs, my map is going to drive the wrong behaviours. Because straight away people are going to look at the map and they're going to look and they're going to say, oh no, where do I need to go? So through here, we've always said we're going to have different colours for it. So we've got this, in this case, we can see recovered and deaths, they're the wrong way around. So all I need to do is click on here. That was gone to me paint roller, got to me colours, and I need to switch them around. So deaths is going to be that one, recovered is going to be that one. Okay, and we can actually start to see them appear on the maps or on the visuals as we expect. The reason why you want to be consistent with your colours is what you want is people to be able to see your report at a glance. They need to be able to see, is this important? Do I know what I need to do with it? Alright, so let's review our work then, shall we? So as you can see, what I've done, I've dropped back some of the stuff, but I've made the trend line really clear here on the confirmed changeover date. So you can actually start to really see, is it going up, is it going down? We've got our main chart there, so we can see really if the deaths start going above the confirmed, we've got an issue, I think there is kind of that. But it's interesting to watch. The two lines do tend to stay ahead of each, or stay closely related to each other. But I guess what you really want is for it to be coming down, or well, leveling off, but you want the deaths rate to be way below that line. We can pick what countries. We've got our KPI chart showing there, or our values affecting that even. So if I pick a country at random, we can see how they're performing. So let's pick let's pick somewhere in Europe, something sensible. Let's pick Portugal. Pick Portugal. We can see the map will zoom in to show us Portugal, and now it's a pain that it zooms right in if there's only one dot. If we hover over it, it gives us a flavour of actually what's going on. We can see it's in the red most days. It's dropped back into the ambers a couple of times, but it's back in the red, so it's definitely still climbing. That's borne witness to by that though, isn't it? So it's good. This is actually presenting me with some really valuable information almost at a glance. I can have a look at this, have a quick peek, see what's going on, see where the greens are, see where the reds are, see where the ambers are. Got a global scatter chart which is kind of comparing the deaths and the confirmed. So we've got the latest confirmed, the latest deaths. We can start to really see at a day by day level actually how a country's doing. And if we pick somewhere, so if we pick Germany for example, you can see its historic trend across the period, so how it's actually performed. You can see it's gone through some amber stage, even hit some green points, which is probably where they were talking about starting to cut back on their lockdown. It's gone back into the amber since then, so it might be creeping back up, but I'm sure Germany's going to get it in hand. That Angela Merkel, she's done a great job explaining it all to people. UK, man, come on guys, it's just gone straight up. Have a look at France. It's more erratic, but we can see they've had times where they've started to make differences. It's started to edge round. You can see it is turning. Italy, we can see it's gone up through the ambers, even had a couple of greens in there as well. Hover over it, we can see they've started to make an impact. They're definitely making headway on it. Spain, for all it was going on, it looks like it had a bad day yesterday. Let's hope they can bring it back in track. But again, you click on it, you can see UK. Come on guys, we really are in the wrong place for this. So we've still got the US far over here in the far right, underneath everything. If we hover over, we can see the nature of their line is definitely different to everyone else's. So we'll have to keep an eye and watch over the next weeks or so, see exactly what happens in the US. I think it's just difficult. They've got so many more data points at this level, at a country level. It's really difficult to assess them against anyone else. So they're definitely an outlier here. But the way I've written this, you can drill down, so we can right click and drill down into it, which is another feature Power BI has. You can actually set drill down up in areas. We can go down to that next level and really see what's going on. And potentially as well, we can drill down to the state level, to the county level if we drilled further down. So we're into US, New York State. Let's see what's happening within New York. And we can really see where the worst places are. Right, it's up here, isn't it? New York. We can see that line is a lot closer to what we've been seeing for other places. If we're going back up again, we can pick another state. So let's pick a positive one. Washington State. I hope that was Washington State I've drilled into. Does look much better, doesn't it? But even there you can see they've got some problem areas. But really, having that KPI given colour adds a lot of definition, and I hope you're seeing the risk and the danger that you face with KPIs, because they're defining what we're going to think. If we haven't got that definition right, it's just going to break our mindset. It's going to force you to think in a way you didn't want people to be thinking. Lastly, we've got our forecast. I wish I could say something positive about this. Having a look, checking a few other countries, seeing what's going on. I've tried to make it a nice, easy way to watch and see. Really, the key thing you want to look at is this forecast. That's the interesting point for me. So if we pick a country, let's pick France this time. Or again, I feel terrible. Keep picking France. We can see they've had some good days, they've had some bad days. We can see their ongoing trend where we expect them to go, or their forecast. If we have a look at somebody else, let's pick Korea. Let's put something positive on the line here. Yeah, South Korea. We can see everything's gone green, and we can actually start to see the way that they've measured it down, and that their percentage change is much lower than we'd expect, and it's only a 0.2% change. That's a really good positive story, and I wish them ever continued success. What I'm going to do is I'll save this file once again, I'll whack it up on Dropbox, have a look. Honestly, I hope I've given you something to think about for the weekend. That's the point of this video. I've really enjoyed making it. I'm definitely going to keep doing this. Leave the comments, subscribe if you're enjoying it. Tell us what you like. Please tell us what you didn't like, because honestly, I want to make this good. Stay safe, keep looking after each other, and make sure that you take care of everyone.